Trump is right, yes. Trump, 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 Trump. He's going to be here to see you, Pittsburgh. Now, I know showing up here tonight took people a long time to get here, and I see yard signs everywhere. And I hear about the polls, and I say, you know what, first of all, what was the sample, 400 or 500 likely voters? Anybody in here been polled? Yeah, so we know what's going on, and now we saw again what happened today. If you don't think there's a double standard, if you don't think it's rigged, then you need to wake up and smell the coffee. Let's let the Department of Justice worry about doing that, but let's do something else as Americans. Because this is not about Republicans, this is not about Democrats, this is not about libertarians or independents, it's about Americans. So forget about locking her up. How about let's lock her out? Lock her out of the White House. Don't let her get there. Keep her on the sidelines. There's only one man who can drain the swamp, and the only guy that can do that is Donald Trump. And you know why? Because he's not part of the status quo. He's not an insider. He's like all of us. He's like all of us. So my friends, thank you so much for being here tonight. Listen, we've got a great lineup for you. But I want you to think about something, because you heard the pastor very clearly talk to you about our responsibilities, but I want you to think about a young boy who was taking food to the army of Israel because they were going to fight the Philistines. And Goliath was in the valley, and the army wouldn't come out. And Goliath ridiculed them. And he said, "You're soft, you're simple, you don't have the courage to come out." And a little boy who was bringing food to the army grabbed his slingshot and went out into that valley and faced Goliath, and you know what he said? "Is there not a cause? This is our cause. We do not have an option on this, my friends. November the 8th is just hours away, but you've got to get there, and you've got to take people with you. So please, let's think about what it is that we have on our plate and what it is that we have to do. If you're Donald Trump, please ask me, why would a man in his position, with the life that he has and the family that he has, why would he subject himself to a year and a half of this punishment? And you know what the answer is? He loves America. He loves America. He loves you. Listen, I want to take a moment right now. Your representative, Mark Mustio's here to address you. So if you would please give a great Pittsburgh welcome to Representative Mark Mustio. Mark.
Thank you, Congressman Kelly. Now, I need you all to do me a favor. We have several thousand of our family reunion people outside, and we have some space back here. So we need everybody to move just a little bit so we can get these people inside so they can hear the message, so that I know it's tough, but I was told to ask you that. Don't laugh too loud at me, please. All right. My job today is to give you reasons to drag your neighbors, friends, and relatives to the polls. And at the end, I want to make sure on Tuesday that we are the judge and jury of the Clintons. And I will be asking you at the end to say guilty or not guilty, but I think I know what the answer is going to be. Every 4 years we hear about change. But does it happen? No, it doesn't happen. You know why it's going to happen this time? Congressman Kelly alluded to it. Donald Trump and his family did not have to put themselves through this, right? They had a pretty nice life. He had the resources and the bully pulpit to represent us, not the special interests. We need him in Washington, D.C., so people like Congressman Kelly, Congressman Rothfuss, Congressman Murphy can get the job done that they've been fighting for the last several years. Donald Trump has taken unprecedented harsh treatment from a dishonest and many times complicit media. He has accepted those arrows to make America great again. He is an example of the American dream. Donald Trump took personal financial risks with his name and resources on the line. When the real estate market crashed, he did not blame others. He was not the victim. What did he do? He did what every entrepreneur and great American would do. He grabbed himself by the bootstraps and built lots of great companies and hired thousands of people again. We need somebody like Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. representing us. The media questions Donald Trump's decision-making ability. Well, Thursday night, Governor Pence was here, and I think Donald Trump made an awesome decision in selecting Governor Pence as his running mate. What a great choice. The first words out of Governor Pence's mouth when he stood on this stage were, he's a Christian, conservative, and a Republican in that order. Donald Trump has not been running for president for the last 25 years like his opponent. We have the opportunity on Tuesday to elect Donald Trump as president to clean the swamp and give Washington, D.C. that much-needed enema. Yes, I said enema. Donald Trump has made himself exceptionally successful in our free market capitalist system. On the other hand, what has Donald Trump's opponent done over the last 25 years as she prepared to run for office? Has she worked overtime to keep her record clean from scandal? No. Has she surrounded herself with people that contributed to making her record clean? Rather than working to create a government that helps average Americans like you and me succeed, she has used her power to make the Clintons wealthy and tarnish everyone that wants to make government good. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Who has Clinton fatigue? On Tuesday, I said we can become judge and jury and end this fatigue. I ask you, jury, what do you say to these lists? Travelgate, guilty. Whitewater, guilty. Filegate, guilty. Removing files from Vince Foster's office. Guilty. Lost Rose Law Firm billing records. Guilty. Commerce Department's pay-to-play junkets. Guilty. Renting out the Lincoln bedroom. Taking campaign contributions from the Chinese. Vice President Gore making phone calls from the White House for campaign contributions. Guilty. How about this one? Ever hear of this person? Monica Lewinsky and impeachment. Pardongate, the Bosnia airport sniper lie. Guilty. Benghazi. The email scandal. Speaking fees that are astronomical for favors. The Clinton Foundation. All right, now our job over the next couple days. Let's end that fatigue. When you drive home tonight, think about who that one person is that you can take to the polls. Who is that person? You can call and explain why this election is so important. Please make sure your parents, your grandparents, your children, cousins vote. We can't leave anything left on the field. I know Sam is here. Peter's here. Chris and Melissa are here up front. Who are you thinking about? I know it. We can all do it. Simonetti, who are you going to take? Let's do it. Let's elect Donald Trump, the next president of the United States.
How about that, Mark Mustio? Now listen, the next guest, the next person who's going to talk to you is also going to be a next state treasurer. Would you please welcome Otto Voigt?
Thanks. Good to see you. Good evening, fellow deplorables. And good evening, adorable deplorables. Are you ready to drain the Washington swamp? Are you ready to make America great again? I love you too. Woo! I am Otto Voigt, and I'm running for Pennsylvania State Treasurer. I am proud to have been the first statewide candidate to endorse Donald J. Trump for President of the United States. I did not waver. I did not back down, and we have 2 days left, and together we cannot waver and we cannot back down. We have to go out there with everything that we got. We may be weary, but we're not down. We have the energy, and we have to go out and elect Donald J. Trump as our next president of the United States. I support Donald Trump for 2 reasons. ISIS did not exist before Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. What should we do with her? Lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. You bet. You bet. And as a congressman said, let's lock her out of the White House. Donald Trump and Mike Pence will rebuild our military. I'm a former military officer and Desert Storm veteran, and a shout out to every one of you here tonight who is a veteran. There is no doubt that Donald J. Trump will utterly destroy radical Islamic terrorism. He will make us safe at home and abroad. Did you know? As treasurer, we will take the oil to pay for all of the reparations that are due us. How's that? Take the oil. Did you know that more people believe in Bigfoot than in the trustworthiness of Hillary Clinton? We have had the worst economic recovery since 1949. It is time that we end the war on coal and we end the war on energy, and that's what Donald J. Trump will do as President of the United States. Did you know that more people believe in UFOs than in the trustworthiness of Hillary Clinton? So I ask you, are you tired of the Washington elite? Are you tired of the liberal media? tell you what. But you know what's going to be great? You know what's going to be great? On election night at 11 p.m., CNN will have to announce Trump wins in a landslide. And on Wednesday morning, tune in 11 p.m. on Tuesday when they have to make that announcement. And on Wednesday morning, the New York Times front page, Donald Trump wins in a landslide. So are you ready? Are you ready for these next 2 days to go out there and work hard so we can drain the Washington swamp? Drain the swamp, 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 you bet. There is only one team that can make America great again. There is only one team that can drain that swamp, and that team is Donald J. Trump for President of the United States and Mike Pence for Vice President of the United States. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Pennsylvania's next treasurer. You're going to trust him with your money? I think so. Great job, Otto. Now, the next person that you're going to see truly is a person that personifies that saying that big things come in little packages. Would you please give a big Pittsburgh welcome to Senator Kim Ward?
Hey everybody, I cannot believe the size of this crowd. There's just as many outside, and we did it. You did it without Beyonce. Or or Jay-Z and his dirty mouth, Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder. Yeah. Donald Trump doesn't need all of those folks to come in to support him. We have you here, and we don't have Katy Perry. I almost forgot The Eye of the Tiger, or whatever it is she sings. So, we have really less than 48 hours to make America great again. Yeah. And we need to do that by making sure we get everybody here and everybody outside, find one or two people that weren't going to vote and drag them to the polls. We are in a tight race in Pennsylvania, and I cannot remember the last time, and I've been involved for a long time, even though I'm short, I'm old, that we were actually tied in Pennsylvania. And we are tied in Pennsylvania, and we need the Southwest to come out. We need you out. We need your friends out. You know, there's some things we don't need. The last thing we need again in America is Bill Clinton trolling around the East Wing. We have that. Ooh, we don't need that. We don't need that. We need Donald Trump in that White House because we need to put integrity in that White House. We need to put somebody with some fresh ideas, somebody from outside the mainstream, somebody that represents you and me. That's what we need. You know, I was listening to the radio on the way down here, and they're talking about, you know, the FBI saying, well, we didn't really find anything different. What are they forgetting? The Clinton Foundation is still under a criminal investigation by the FBI. We don't need this constant investigation and constant wondering, is our president honest in the White House? We gotta make sure we get Donald Trump in that White House. We don't want her in the White House. All right, well, I'm not gonna talk to you all night, even though I could, because that's how I am. Like that? Okay, not me, don't lock me up. Orange is not a good color for many of us, but I think she'd look great in it, don't you? Yeah, she'd look great. When you go out to vote Tuesday, please make sure, bringing one or two people with you, that you go to your phone bank tomorrow, go to your phone bank on Tuesday. If you don't know where the closest one is, get on DonaldTrump.com and find it. Even if you just have a half an hour, if everybody here turns one or two people, it will make a huge, huge difference. Huge. Big difference, big difference. We need our next president to not be somebody that thinks they are above the law, right? She's above the law. That's what some of this stuff tells me. This last FBI investigation tells me she's above the law. Look at Navy officer Christian Saucier. Where's he? He's in jail. And one of the charges was obstruction of justice. Exactly what she did. Who in this room would not be in jail if they deleted their files after Sabina? Raise your hand if you think you're not going to be in jail. Yeah, right. We're all going to jail if we do that. The person in that Oval Office needs to not be above the law. They are there to uphold the Constitution, and that's what we expect. One thing before I go, I always do this and I'm a little bit, wow, there's a big crowd here. It makes me really just want to sing. But, okay, if you're a veteran, can you raise your hand for us? Everybody, a big round of applause for our veterans. Thank you all very much for what you do for this nation, what you've done for this nation. Without you, we wouldn't be the great nation that we are, and we're about to make it greater. Have a great election day. Go vote, go vote, go vote. Pull your friends out and vote. Thank you. I need a picture.
Senator Ward, thank you so much. The next person you're going to see up here at the podium, if you live in this area, it's your U.S. Rep. It's Dr. Tim Murphy. Typical Irish Catholic, one of 11. And the good doctor has some really good messages to send with you, but I want you to understand something about Tim Murphy. Tim Murphy's not only a great legislator, Tim Murphy is also a commander in the United States Navy and spends endless hours working with our veterans to make sure they can transition from a military life into the private sector. Please welcome Representative Tim Murphy.
All right. I got to get a shot of this too. Come on, let's see those signs. Oh my gosh. I don't know. You don't look so deplorable to me. You actually, or at least you're not in a basket. What an incredible crowd, and still thousands outside waiting to get in. Actually, you look like Americans who love your country, don't you? You look like Americans who respect the law. You look to me like Americans, and when you say a policeman, you say thank you. Say thank you now to them, right? Incredible. And the Secret Service, hey. What a difference it is to have people who believe in our country so much. You also look to me like people that when it comes to health care, You want your choices to be which doctor you see, not the choices decided by some bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. And you look to me like people who said, where's that health care savings we were supposed to get? This year going up, what, 23% here. 53%. Huge numbers. And it was all supposed to go down. I remember sitting through those things. Another pack of lies. You also look like people who understand that, since the war on poverty began in the 1960s, launched by President Lyndon Johnson, so far we have spent $20 trillion in that war, more than any other war. But, whether you're born in poverty then or you're born in poverty now, you are no more likely to get out of poverty. It is a total failure. And if we're going to help people who are in poverty, we need a leader in there who understands how to get people towards success, not keep them pushed down. And that's what Trump is all about. You also look like people that understand law-abiding citizens understand that the Second Amendment means you can protect your rights. For the past few years, since some of these terrible tragedies occurred, it seemed to me, I'm a psychologist, that we ought to be paying attention to what's in their hearts and what's in their heads and not just what's in their hands. And that we ought to be providing treatment before tragedy. And that's one of the big differences. We believe help those who need help, show compassion. And what they do on the other side, you might have seen some of these WikiLeaks come out where they actually take mentally ill people and have them go to the rallies here so they can get in violent encounters with police. Is that sick? How abusive is that? But that's the way they use people in an abusive way. We want to help them. You also look like people that love our veterans. Do we have any veterans here? Raise your hand. Let's see it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for what you do. And you look like the kind of people that believes when some of our veterans or some of the people protecting an embassy call for help, that someone from the State Department ought to get on the phone and say, let's send them all the help they need. An easy decision, not wringing hands for hours. And you look like the kind of people that would say, it does matter when somebody gets killed. It matters to their wives, it matters to their children, it matters to their families. But to dismiss it and say, what does it matter? Shows you the kind of way that a certain person misses the point. These are our citizens, and we should be protecting them at those times, not turning them away. But that's some of the mistakes that have occurred there. You also look like people who understand this. It wasn't the people sitting in the White House that took out bin Laden. It was the Navy SEALs that took out bin Laden. It wasn't the people posing for the dramatic photo like this, watching a camera from thousands of miles away in safety that did it. It was the people who risked their lives going over there to take care of bin Laden and put him away. That's the difference. And you look to me like people who recognize that our country's been through a mess the last 8 years. I work in the swamp. I know the swamp. That swamp needs to be drained. And that's only going to happen with Donald Trump and Mike Pence. But as we go forward with this, the change is so essential. When we think of over the last several years, we would never have conversations with the White House. There was no work there together on things. He was there, we were there, and there just wasn't any of that. I want to see a commander-in-chief in place now who's willing to work with Congress to bring us together, who understands how jobs are created, not who blames everybody else, who understands how you support the law, not blame the FBI, how you understand what it takes to make our country great again. And it is so exciting when you see a crowd like this, here on your own, staying up late to be here, that I know that Tuesday night we're going to have a heck of a lot to celebrate with our new president, Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Make America great again, folks. Good night.
Okay, the next person I want you to meet and I want you to greet so warmly is a guy that I've gotten to know over the last 6 years. We ran together back in 2010, and he came up just a little bit short and didn't make it to Washington. He called me the day after the election and said, I want to congratulate you for getting elected, but I want you to know something. I'm starting my campaign today for the next election. This is the guy that I will tell you right now is the hardest working member of Congress. And when Ms. Pelosi says we have to pass it before we read it, I want you to say hello to a guy who says, I won't vote for anything until I've read it all. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Keith Rothfuss.
All right. Wow, look at this crowd. Hello, movement. You're the movement. 34 hours, the polls open. Are you going to be ready? And are you ready to welcome Donald J. Trump to the place that built America? Are you ready to welcome Donald J. Trump to the place that can rebuild America? Don't stop, folks, thinking about tomorrow, because it's going to be here, and it's going to be here before you know it. I need you to remember your friends, your neighbors. Get into the polls, because every single vote is going to matter. You know, we're at a crossroads in this country, and we've been at these crossroads before, and in 1980 was one of them. And in January of 1981, as 52 American hostages were on an airplane after spending 444 days in prison in Iran, we had a president who stood at the Capitol and said these words: in this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem. Doesn't it look like we are where we were 36 years ago? So much for President Obama and Hillary Clinton saying, we don't want to go back. They're already back there. They want to give you more of big government, broken government status quo. But we need good government, not broken government, not big government. And we need a government that's accountable to you, the people. But I want to ask you, when government refuses to secure the border and allows 24 tons of heroin to come into our country every year from Mexico that is poisoning our neighbors, our friends, our kids to death, is government the problem? When government gives us a health care law that fails to deliver on its core promises of lowering costs and you keeping the plan and doctor you like, while threatening the little sisters of the poor, is government the problem? When government gives us a tax code that is too complicated, laced with favors for the connected, drives investment from America, and uses the IRS to go after political opponents, is government the problem? When government regulations close our power plants and close our coal mines, and when government regulations force people to work not one full-time job, but 2 or 3 part-time jobs, is government the problem? And when anti-poverty programs actually trap people in poverty and discourage them from advancing, sidelining the creative talent that God gave them, talent that we need out there to help rebuild our country, is government the problem? When government fails to confront an organized cabal surrounding a former Secretary of State that destroys an email server 3 weeks after a congressional subpoena and then takes hammers to Blackberries, is government the problem? Take heart, folks. Where there's problems, we have the solutions. We have teed up legislation all ready to go to fix our healthcare system, to fix our tax code, to fix this over-regulating red tape coming from Washington, D.C., to restore our defenses, but we need a president who's going to sign it. Donald J. Trump is going to sign that legislation. Hillary Clinton will veto it. The choice is simple. With Donald J. Trump, the status quo is over. With Hillary Rodham Clinton, we're stuck in neutral, and the problems will only get worse as the debt continues to climb. But for tax reform and cutting Washington red tape so that jobs and wages can grow, for an end to the debacle of Obamacare and replacing it with patient and consumer-driven care, for taking care of our veterans and restoring our defenses, for calling out the name of our enemy, radical Islamic terrorism, Donald J. Trump and Republicans and the House will deliver solutions. One last word. Let me get serious for a minute. Not enough attention has been paid in this campaign to Hillary Clinton's speech last year, in which she argued that religious beliefs have to be changed to conform to her progressive worldview. What, does she think she's going to rewrite the Ten Commandments or something? You know, Hillary Clinton would have been in 7th or 8th grade when President Kennedy was sworn in. You'd think she'd remember his inspiring inaugural address, which was a call to arms for a new generation of Americans to embrace the ideals of our founding and to serve our country. President Kennedy said, "The same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God." The first freedom of our founding documents is the free exercise of religion. It's what brought people to these shores fleeing governments hostile, forcing them to worship against their conscience. It's a core principle on which William Penn founded our Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But Hillary Clinton wants to appoint justices who will undermine this and other fundamental constitutional freedoms like the Second Amendment. Donald Trump will not. It's that simple. Are you ready for Tuesday? Are you ready for these doors to start to open? Yeah, there you go. Who's going to put better justices on the Supreme Court? Who's going to sign our legislation and get this country moving ahead? Who are we going to elect as president on Tuesday? Get your neighbors out. Let's do this. He's going to be here real soon. Thanks, everybody. God bless you. God bless this great country.
Joe tells me that the airplane's in the air. It's almost to Pittsburgh. I just walked outside to see the moon and see a star-filled night, and then come back in here and see all of you so excited, so ready to see Donald Trump, so ready to see the next president of the United States, and he will be here soon. If we can, for just 1 minute, we've talked so much about our veterans. I want you to think about those 1.4 million lives that were sacrificed so that we could be here and that we could exercise our rights on November the 8th. And I want you to think about those people. Those are people that never got to come back home again, never got to see their loved ones, never got to go to another Thanksgiving or a Christmas or a wedding, never got to see another baptism or a christening. And I want you to think about that. That sacrifice is incredible, but it only takes place in a country like America, in a nation like ours. And I don't know about you, but I know that this is truly a movement, and you're the ones that are going to push it across the finish line. You have a choice on November the 8th. We can choose to lose, or we can refuse to lose. I think you're all going to refuse to lose. Now, while we can, Joey, help me get the rest of our members up here. Are we getting everybody up? Are we ready to go? Listen, if you want America to work again, if you want America safe again, if you want America great again, then we've got to win the Keystone State. Are you with me? Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home, Pittsburgh. Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home.
Talk to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
U.S. national debt currently stands at $18.3 trillion.
Stopping the flood of fighters joining ISIS is much more complex.
Obamacare would cost 800,000 jobs.
Our country is in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore.
How do I, as an average person, begin?
Well, first of all, never think of yourself as average. You started off with the wrong question because you're not average. You've got a lot going. I see you're smart. I see you.
Thank you. Thank you. In 2 days, we are going to win the great state of Pennsylvania, and we are going to win back the White House. What people, what great people. When we win, we are bringing steel back. We're going to bring steel back to Pennsylvania like it used to be. We're putting our steel workers and our miners back to work. We are. We will be bringing back our once great steel companies. We're going to be bringing back new steel companies and plenty of other companies. We are not going to allow our jobs to be taken from our states anymore. We will be opening brand new factories across this state. We are going to bring back the jobs and the wealth that have been stolen from us. The economic policies of Bill and Hillary Clinton have bled Pennsylvania dry. You know it, I know it, we've watched it happen. The corrupt Clintons gave us NAFTA, China's entry into the World Trade Organization, the job-killing deal with South Korea, another Hillary disaster, and now she wants Trans-Pacific Partnership, which will be absolutely unacceptable. It will take what NAFTA hasn't taken. But it'll all change on November 8th. There's going to be a big, big change. Big, big change. And as you all know, real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing the disaster known as Obamacare. It's just been announced that the residents of Pennsylvania, where I went to school, by the way, are going to experience massive double-digit premium hikes. High numbers. I know your number. I will not tell you because everybody's happy tonight. I don't want you leaving in a fit of depression. I refuse. But you'll find out. But it's not going to matter because we're getting rid of it. You're going to end up getting great health care at a fraction of the cost. So don't worry about it. In the great state of Arizona, premiums are going up more than 116%. All 67 counties in Pennsylvania are losing Obamacare insurers next year. You've heard about that. Lots of luck. Premiums are surging. Companies are leaving. Insurers are fleeing. Doctors are quitting. And deductibles are through the roof. $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 in some cases. Yet Hillary Clinton wants to double down on Obamacare, making it even more expensive than it already is. I'm asking for your vote so we can repeal and replace Obamacare and save health care for every family in Pennsylvania. We'll do it. We'll do it. Real change also means restoring honesty to government. We'll start by getting rid of Clinton, all right? That'll be a good start. Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt person ever to seek the office of the presidency of the United States. The investigations into her crimes will go on for a long, long time. The rank and file special agents at the FBI won't let her get away with these terrible crimes, including the deletion of 33,000 emails after receiving a congressional subpoena. Right now, she's being protected by a rigged system. You can't review 650,000 emails in 8 days. You can't do it, folks. Hillary Clinton is guilty. She knows it. The FBI knows it. The people know it. And now it's up to the American people to deliver justice at the ballot. Look, we are going to deliver justice the way justice used to be in this country. At the ballot box on November 8th, we are going to do something so special. It will be so special. It will be an amazing day. It'll be called Brexit plus plus plus. You know what I mean? And you know, the polls are coming in, and these very, very dishonest people back there, the media, they're not happy. They're not happy. They are not happy, folks. We're leading in Ohio. We're leading in Iowa. We're leading in New Hampshire. We're leading in North Carolina. And they never show these crowds. They never show these crowds. Believe me, they don't show the crowds. But I've learned two things during this incredible tour. Number one, how great the American people are. And number two, how totally dishonest American media is. It's beyond belief. My contract with the American voter begins with a plan to end government corruption and take our country back from the special interests. You know, I used to be on the other side, in case you didn't know. But I love our country. And I said our country not only heading in the wrong direction, we weren't going to have a country anymore. You look at what's happening. Trade, $800 billion deficit worldwide, trade. Our deals with China, we have a deficit of almost $500 billion each year. We weren't going to make it, folks. We weren't going to make it. Drugs pouring through our borders. Our jobs taken away. Oh, we'll build a wall. Don't worry. We will build. I promise. We're building the wall. And Mexico will pay for the wall. I promise. I want the entire corrupt Washington establishment to hear the words, we all, I'm your messenger, just a messenger. Doing a good job, but just a messenger. We all are about to say, when we win on November 8th, we are going to drain the swamp. This is a great crowd. You know, I just got back from Michigan. I'm actually, can you believe after this, I go to Virginia where we do one. Can you believe it? We'll call it a midnight. That'll be my 5th of the day. And then tomorrow we have 5 or maybe 6. So we set them up 24 hours, one tweet, and everybody comes. You've got to do that. You've got to get to the ballot box on November 8th. That's the key. We have one of the great movements of all time. We have the greatest movement ever put together in this country. It's a movement of common sense, keeping our jobs, strengthening our military, so many things. You've got to go and vote. You've got to go and vote. At the core of my contract is my plan to bring back our jobs. Pennsylvania has lost almost 40% of its manufacturing jobs since NAFTA. NAFTA. You heard about NAFTA. The worst trade deal ever signed by anybody at any time. It was a deal that was started and signed by Bill Clinton and totally supported by crooked Hillary Clinton. America has lost 70,000 factories since China. Think of that number. You know, think about 700. That's a lot, right? Then think about 7,000. That's a lot. Think about 70,000 factories we lost. How many jobs that is? Since China entered the World Trade Organization, another Bill, and this was a Bill and Hillary-backed disaster also. We're living through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. No country has ever lost their jobs like we do to other countries. Because we're led by stupid people. We're led by people that don't have a clue. We're led by people that take money from special interests and donors, and they want bad things to happen. A Trump administration will stop the jobs from leaving America, believe me. And we will stop the jobs from leaving the great state of Pennsylvania. If a company wants to fire their workers in Pennsylvania, move to another country, and then ship their products back into the United States, we will make them pay a 35% tax, and believe me, they won't be leaving our country very quickly, believe me. They could have done that a long time ago, but the politicians never wanted to do it. They never wanted to do it, and for bad reason. A Trump administration will renegotiate NAFTA, and if we don't get the deal we want, we will terminate NAFTA and get a much better deal for our workers and our companies. We will also immediately stop the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership. That'll take the rest of your jobs, folks. That's a Hillary deal. She said that's the gold standard. Then she lied about it during the debate. She also lied about the fact that she didn't get the questions. Can you believe she got the questions to the debate? And nobody even talks about it. And they don't even write about it. They don't even write about it. They are the most biased, dishonest people. Can you imagine if Donald Trump got the questions to the debate? They would say he must immediately stop his run. She gets the question, nobody even talks about it. In other words, she cheated like a dog, and nobody talks about it. Given to her by Donna Brazil, nobody cares. If I got them, it would not be a pretty picture. They would reinstitute the electric chair, right? What a double standard. And all we want to do is make America great again. I mean, it's like just a crazy thing. How they are, how they react. They are very, very dishonest people. As part of our plan to bring back jobs, we are going to lower taxes on American business from 35% all the way down to 15%. We're the highest taxed nation in the world. We're now going to be among the lower taxed nations. We will massively cut taxes for the middle class. Hillary Clinton is going to raise your taxes very, very substantially. We will lift the restrictions on American energy, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean, beautiful coal. Put our miners back to work. Hillary wants to shut down the mines, and she wants to ban shale production. Not going to happen. A Trump administration will unleash a shale energy revolution, and you know all about shale. You know more about shale than anybody, right here in Pennsylvania. We will also rebuild our inner cities. We are going to rebuild our inner cities. The African-American community, the Hispanic community, has been treated very, very unfairly by our politicians. They want a vote, and then they say, thank you very much, I'll see you in 4 years after that election. We are going to rebuild our inner cities. We're going to bring back jobs. We're going to bring back education. We're going to bring back safety. Safety. So unsafe. Going to be very happy. I will tell you, people are going to be very happy. We will become a rich nation once again. But to be a rich nation, we must also be a safe nation. Hillary Clinton wants a 550% increase in Syrian refugees pouring into our country, and virtually unlimited immigration from the most dangerous regions of the world pouring into our country. Her plan will import generations of terrorism, extremism, and radicalism into your schools and throughout your communities. When I'm elected president, we will suspend the Syrian refugee program. And we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country. I will tell you that. We will keep them out. We have enough problems, folks. We have enough problems. We have plenty of problems. We don't need these. Here in Pennsylvania, you've seen firsthand the problems caused by refugee programs with large numbers of poorly vetted refugees coming into your state without your knowledge, support, or approval. A Trump administration will not admit any refugees without the support of the local community where they're being placed. It'd be about time that people know. You have people being brought into your community. Nobody knows who they are. Even your governors and your top politicians aren't told. We're going to change that. And we will pause admissions from terror-prone regions until a full security assessment has been performed and until a proven vetting mechanism has been established. We only want to admit those into this nation who will support our country and love our people. A Trump administration will also secure and defend the borders of the United States. And for that young gentleman that keeps saying wall, yes, we will build a great, great wall, and Mexico will pay for that wall. They will pay for it. They understand that. They will be paying for the wall. Hillary supports totally open borders, there goes your country, and strongly supports sanctuary cities like San Francisco, where Kate Steinle was murdered by an illegal immigrant, deported perhaps more than 5 times. Thousands of Americans would be alive today if not for the open border policies of Obama and Clinton. This includes Americans like Josh Wilkerson, whose mother I've gotten to know during the campaign. Josh, a great student in a high school, was murdered at the age of 17. He was tortured, strangled, and beaten to death by an illegal immigrant, and then his body was set on fire. People begged and they pleaded with the authorities not to let this killer, the killer of Josh, free, incarcerate him, send him back to his country. But the Obama administration said, no, we won't do that. They said no. A Trump administration will end this nightmare of violence, believe me. We will protect American lives. We will cancel all federal funding to sanctuary cities. We will stop illegal immigration, deport all criminal aliens, and dismantle every last criminal gang and cartel threatening our citizens. We will also repeal the Obama-Clinton defense sequester and rebuild our badly depleted military. We need our military. I'm honored to have the endorsement of more than 200 top admirals and generals and 22 Medal of Honor recipients. Our new foreign policy is going to always put America first. Strange words. You don't hear those words. You're going to hear them plenty. To all Americans, I say it's time for leadership. It is time for change. Just think about what we can accomplish in the first 100 days of a Trump administration. Be so great. We're going to have the biggest tax cut since Ronald Reagan, even bigger, and Hillary Clinton wants to raise those taxes. Not going to happen. We will save and protect your Social Security and Medicare. She will reduce and cut your Social Security and Medicare benefits. We will eliminate every unnecessary job-killing regulation. Cancel every illegal Obama executive order. Protect religious liberty. Rebuild our military and take great care for once and for all of our veterans, our great, great veterans. They are not being treated properly. Provide school choice and put an end to Common Core. We're bringing our education local. Support the great men and women of law enforcement. We are going to save the Second Amendment, which is totally under siege, and appoint justices to the United States Supreme Court who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's time to cut our ties with the failed politicians of the past. Hillary Clinton is the candidate of yesterday. She's been there, folks, for 30 years. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. She wants to fight ISIS. She's the one that started ISIS. When she was Secretary of State, there was no ISIS. She unleashed it with the vacuum, her and Obama. Now ISIS is in 32 countries. We are fighting for every community whose jobs and dreams have been ripped out and shipped to other countries all over the world, including Mexico. We are fighting for every American who believes government should serve the people, not the donors and not the special interests. We're fighting for every forgotten man, woman, and child in this nation. I'm asking you to dream big. We used to dream big. Dream big with your vote. We are just, can you believe this? 2 days away from the change you've been waiting for your entire life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pennsylvania. It's a great state. It's a great place. It's a great area. I know it very well. I know it very well. I know what people have gone through. I've seen the job loss. I've seen all of the problems, but we're going to turn it around, folks. Get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. I promise you this. We're going to all work together. We're going to make America wealthy again. We're going to make America strong and powerful again. We're going to make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you, everybody. God bless you. Get out and vote. We have to win Pennsylvania. Thank you. We love you. God bless you.